Kyle Klingman with Track Wrestling. We are going out to Colorado Springs for someone who made history in Iowa. She was the first place winner at the Boys State Championships. She is a four-time All-American. She is Megan Black. How are you, Megan?
I'm good. Thanks, Kyle.
We're going to flesh this out first. My understanding is that you get mistaken for a few wrestlers in the wrestling space. Who do you get mistaken for?
Yes, some common ones are Kayla Miracle and Michaela Hutchinson. When she was wrestling, I used to get mistaken for her as well.
What do you do when they mistake you for them? Do you have a formula on how you get through it?
Well, it depends, I guess. Like backtrack to Final X, there's a lot of fans there, and I was getting mistaken. Like every other person was congratulating me. And at that point, I just try to carry myself like Kayla Miracle would, and that's with the most poise, and she's always so thankful. So I was just like, oh, thank you, because after like 300 times, I don't know how many times you can explain it, but if it's just like a one-on-one interaction and you're not walking through a crowd, then I'm like, oh, well, I'm Megan, I'm not Kayla, but I'm sure she would say thank you as well.
Have you talked to her about it?
Yeah, Kayla and I are friends, and we have discussed this before that we look similar.
Does it ever happen to her at all?
Not that I know of. I don't think that's happened to her.
Well, let's go way back to your placing at the Iowa State tournament, which is still a monumental event. When you look back at it in hindsight, how much effort, how much work did it take to get to that point?
I did a lot of work, but I don't think I was doing anything more than, any of the other place winners were doing. I was going to practice, but everyone goes to practice, and everyone gets extra workouts in. Like everyone goes in for those morning practices and stays late if you want to be good. So, I was doing all those things. But I think what maybe gave me the edge is in those times I wasn't just showing up. I was really trying to be intentional with my time, and not just put in the hours, but put in like quality time. And I had really good partners, and I attribute a lot of my success to them and them pushing me to that point.
Does it feel like there's an extra layer of stress when you are breaking barriers?
I don't think at the time I realized, I think it's easy to look back now and think, oh yeah, like I broke some barriers. But I think at the time I was just on the same mission as like my brother. We both wanted to be state champions. We both wanted to be state place winners. And I think at the time I wasn't really focusing on the other outside parts of that and what other people were thinking, or if it was monumental or not. I just think that I had a goal, and I was focused on trying to get to that point.
You get focused on the wrestling part, but there are distractions. Every move you make at the state tournament, everyone's going to be watching, everyone's reporting. What's that like going through that?
I think if you don't know any different, then, you just kind of roll with it. At the same time, you don't really get that alone time that maybe some of the other wrestlers get. You always have people watching you, always have people, wanting to know what's going on in your world or what's going on in your head. And I think it helped me for later on in my career to understand maybe how to compartmentalize things and get the job done when I needed to.
Why do you think Iowa's lagging behind in getting a girls' state championship, a sanctioned girls' state championship?
Oh man, good question. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. We're a state that loves wrestling, and you look around the country and there's so many other states that have already sanctioned this tournament. I don't know if it's taken so long because we want to make sure it's done the right way or whatnot, but kinks will get worked out. It's time. Like, let's get this thing rolling.
Did you follow it when they had the inaugural one last year when they had it up at Waverly Shell Rock?
I did. My sister actually wrestled at it, so I got to watch that a little bit.
Pretty cool.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What just experience from that? Did you get a lot of fan mail, people congratulating you after you had that achievement?
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of so many kind people, so many people reach out to me and congratulate me, and so many people, just thank me for maybe opening a door for their daughter. Just there's a for every negative voice there were 5 positive. So I'm extremely thankful for the state of Iowa and the support that I've had there. Yeah, I had a lot of fan mail, a lot of Facebook messages. It was pretty awesome.
Did you have a lot of naysayers as you were going through this journey?
Um, you know, there were some. Yeah, there's some out there. Yeah.
What kind of things did they do to try to derail your success?
There's people that um, maybe think that I you it's not fair for me to wrestle the boys because it's putting the boys in a situation where it's a lose-lose for them, right? They win, they beat a girl, they lose, they lost to a girl. And I couldn't agree more. If I had the opportunity to wrestle girls in high school, then I wouldn't have been out there wrestling their son or their grandson or their brother or whatever, and that's why I'm pushing so hard for this girls tournament to be sanctioned, because it's not necessarily fair to the boys, but it's not necessarily fair to the girls either that we don't get to wrestle each other and compete against each other week in and week out. So there's always those people. There's the people who say, okay, you're more mature than my 90-pound son is. He's a freshman, he hasn't hit his growth spurt yet, blah blah blah. And I mean, I guess I'm sorry. I don't know. There's always those out there.
Is farm work a good workout for wrestling?
Oh yeah, yeah. My dad always had us busy on the farm, carrying buckets. Anything that could be done with the machine, but could also be done by hand. You guarantee he'd have us doing it by hand. That way we would get the workout in.
You wrestled 3 years at McKendree. What do you think of Sam Schmitz?
Sam's awesome. He's a great coach. He's very passionate about what he does. He's very good at developing wrestlers, even better at developing good people. So he's great.
And he's pretty animated on the sidelines.
Yeah, he is. And I think that's just his passion. That's just it coming out. And when you love your job, you love the sport that much. Sometimes it just comes out in a 6-foot jump on the side of the mat. And I think as a wrestler, it's nice to see that passion in the corner, to know that your coach, he wants it for you as bad as you do. So it's good.
How'd you find the WCAP program?
So I kind of already knew about WCAP, just you see people like Whitney and Jenna competing, and they're doing a great job. And so I knew a little bit about it, didn't know too much until I went to the Budapest World Championships as a training partner for Jakara. And I was out there, kind of got talking to Coach Hodge and Jenna and Whitney and the gang, and kind of got to know a little bit more about WCAP and how basically it was going to be an opportunity for me to continue to chase this dream and get paid to do it, and also get to represent my country and fight for my country. And that's something that I've always considered myself a patriot. I love the United States. I love everything that we have going for us, and the opportunity to represent us on the wrestling mat is always something that I'm up for. So I'm super thankful to be a part of WCAP.
Is it something you see being in long term?
Yeah, I'm here. I plan to stay here. I got out of AIT in March, right as COVID hit. And so I haven't had like too much of a opportunity to get out there and compete. Wrestling's been really limited. We've still been having like practices as far as like off the mat stuff goes. So I'm excited to see, when we get really grinding and stuff, how much better I can get. For so many years, um, my training, I can honestly say now that I kind of got to step away from it from like during basic and stuff, I wasn't giving it all that I possibly had. My time was spread between wrestling and school and farming, and I could say that I was easily distracted. And now wrestling's my job, and that's what I do. And I'm excited to see how good I can get when I just completely throw myself in, like 100%.
Pretty cool too that you have WCAP and then you have the OTC right there. It seems like a great environment.
Yes, totally. We get to work out here with WCAP, and then the training center is right down the road. So then you have more partners, more coaches, just more training opportunities. And I don't know too many other, if I can think of any other places in the country where you have such great training right on top of each other like that, where you get two opportunities to get better. I mean, it's perfect. Because had I not gone to WCAP, my thought was, well, I'll come out here to the training center, possibly, and just grind out there. And the best part about WCAP is I get to do both. I get to be out here training in both situations, so it's prime for me.
Do they have expectations on how many times they want you to compete and the expectations on results they want out of those competitions?
I think, we haven't talked too much about that, but the expectation is, this is your job, this is your career, and we're doing this to kick butt. And that's the kind of attitude I like. So I don't want to say that their expectations are too high, but they're set. We're here to be world champions. We're here to be, Olympians, and that's what I want. That's what I want to be.
Is that a good feeling, putting on that WCAP singlet and competing in it?
It's great. I mean, there's such a family over there. I love that. I love that feeling. That's one thing I loved about going clear back to the Eddyville room. They were that high school room. They were a family, and I knew when I stepped out on that mat with that Eddyville singlet that I was representing my family and that they had my back. And then I got that feeling again at McKendree, where you strap on that singlet and who you're representing. And I think even cooler situation with WCAP is like you're putting on that singlet and you're representing not only WCAP but the United States and the U.S. Army. And even bigger than wrestling is being a soldier and being that 1% that's willing to put it out on the line. And so I'm really honored to wear that WCAP singlet.
Do you make it back to Iowa much?
Unfortunately, yes. Not unfortunately because I don't like Iowa, but my grandma had some heart surgery, some heart problems this summer, and I went back to see her, and then she actually passed away 2 weeks ago, so I went back again for that. And so I have made it back to Iowa, not always for the best circumstances. But actually I get married in 2 days, so I'll be going back to Iowa in 2 days for that. So I make it back there.
Awesome. What
Yeah.
just explain the Iowa High School State Wrestling Championships for those who don't understand what it's like to compete there.
It's the big stage. You have all these communities around Iowa that are so passionate about wrestling. You go anywhere else in the country, and I don't know that you have that community support. You may have the amount of wrestlers, you may have the amount of talent, but you don't have the history, and you don't have just the complete community who loves that sport, who gathers around that sport, like you do in Iowa. And when you're down there on the floor and you hear Megan Black, Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont, or whatever town you're from, it just sticks with you. And now, you drive across the state and you see a town like, it doesn't matter. Whatever town you pass, you hear that announcer's voice in your head, and you know, like, it just brings you back to the atmosphere, brings you back to the state tournament. Anytime I don't know where someone's from, I just put that state tournament announcer voice in my head, and then I know. I know where they're from. I know their school. And I think that the Iowa State tournament puts those little towns on the map, where otherwise they may not have that identity.
You're 2 days away from your wedding. Are we getting in the way of you packing and getting ready to go?
No, I'm pretty low maintenance. I just kind of throw stuff in a bag and roll with it. You guys don't get in my way at all.
You driving back out?
Yeah, yep. I love a good road trip. You know, put on some country music, and I love to look at the crops and the farmland, and I just kind of get lost in thought, whether it be about wrestling or farming or just being a better person who I want to be. A road trip is always good for that.
You got to give us your favorite country music artist, maybe a couple go-to songs.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm a huge old country music fan. I don't listen to any Luke Bryan or anything new like that. I'm a George Strait, Conway Twitty, Waylon Jennings listening kind of gal. I also love like red dirt country, so Tyler Childers, Cody Jinks, Whiskey Myers, Jason Boland, any of those guys, Casey Donahue, all those kind of they're new music, but older sounding, and I like that. I can relate to that more.
Do you have a couple songs that are your staples?
Shoot. I don't know. I love any George Strait song. I'll listen to that all day, every day.
So George, what's your go-to?
Yeah, George is the king. He's my guy.
Yeah.
I listen to him before every wrestling match.
Really?
Not even think. Yeah, you know, I'm the type of person that I get pretty amped up already for wrestling. I don't need anything to get me too crazy, and George just kind of puts me in a place where I'm ready to do my business, and yeah, George is my man.
Full-Hearted Memory, you know that one?
Oh, yeah. You name a George Strait song, I know it.
And then I'm assuming you like the movie Pure Country then too, right?
I love Pure Country. Always been a Pure Country fan. Sing a song about the Heartland.